News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Hundreds turn out in Ravalli County to oppose Syrian refugee resettlement. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. Hey, congratulations. You made it. It's Friday, February 19th. 2016. Right now, the sky is cloudy. It's a very mild 38 degrees in Missoula right now. Our newscast this morning sponsored by Bulls Eyewear. They offer some of the lowest prices in town on contact lenses. See Lynette at Bulls Eyewear, 2910 South Reserve. Our Steve Fullerton reports in Hamilton, the Ravalli County Commissioners drafted a letter this week opposing any Syrian refugee resettlement in Ravalli County or surrounding counties. They plan to let the public comment on the wording yesterday. The 5 commissioners expected a full house at their meeting room, but were surprised when the line of people stretched out the front door of the building and down the block. They quickly moved the meeting to the gymnasium of the Hamilton Middle School a block away. Commissioner Jeff Burrows commented to our Steve Fullerton.
I was expecting maybe 100 people, and it just overwhelmed what we had capacity for over there. That was kind of typical of what we saw coming into this. We had a lot of emails and phone calls, and that was about the same ratio. It was 10 to 1 or so.
A majority of the 500 to 600 people were loudly in support of the commissioner's letter opposing resettlement, which was drafted in response to a previous Missoula County Commission letter to the State Department supporting resettlement.
That's really what drove this whole thing. Is I don't know that we would even taken this up, but we had that letter from Missoula County and City of Missoula. And when we were at a commissioner conference, we had some of the other surrounding counties that were upset and had issue with them asking to bring in refugees without any discussion with the surrounding counties of possible impacts and how they felt.
Public comment against resettlement ranged from terrorism risk to Sharia law and how it would affect women. Others said the government is not able to properly help American veterans, let alone Syrian refugees. Some, however, said they were in favor of accepting some of the huge flow of refugees who've been fleeing the Syrian civil war. Staying in Ravalli County, in a lawsuit by a former Ravalli County treasurer, Valerie Stamey, which was filed this week against the Bitterroot Star in Hamilton. She referenced an interview that aired on KGVO radio in 2014. In the interview, which we captured, Stamey attempted to explain the situation and how it developed into a controversy involving the Montana Commissioner of Political Practices.
I was contacted on February the 3rd by the Office of Political Practices. We indicated that we were certainly more than willing to work through this, and if indeed they did not remember that had happened, that we would be glad to pay for the ad. I found out 48 hours later that the Political Practices Commissioner, via the Ravalli Republic, had issued his conclusion that my husband and I are unfit for public trust.
Stamey said the alleged actions by the publisher of the paper have led to the $8 million libel lawsuit.
I feel that I was completely denied due process in this, so I believe that in working with the Political Practices Office, that Michael Howell has created his own story and basically framed this up from his own paper, and we will be dealing with this legally.
In a related story, Ravalli County Attorney Bill Fulbright told me yesterday he's very interested in this lawsuit because his office has been attempting to find Stamey to serve her with a lawsuit of their own over the cost of an independent audit and an investigation by a former Montana District Judge, Nell Swandall, in order to remedy the problems that Stamey left behind as Ravalli County Treasurer.
This could provide new information. The new lawsuit is simply signed by their attorney, Mr. and Mrs. Stamey's attorney, so it doesn't disclose anything more than a possible state of residence.
Stamey has disappeared for the last 2 years, but the lawsuit filed out of South Carolina may provide a clue to her whereabouts. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is actively looking for 2 people wanted in connection with distribution of methamphetamine in Montana. NBC Montana reports the FBI says 38-year-old Gabriel Calvin Smith and 29-year-old Jennifer Brooke Bushnell are likely living in the Bozeman area, probably near Three Forks or Whitehall. The pair have been missing since 2014, and they both have active arrest warrants. Police say the drug trade in Montana leads to more and more crime, and they've noticed a spike in meth distribution this year. 22-year-old Antonio Ramirez was in court yesterday after being confronted for shoplifting clothing at a Missoula business. According to Police Public Information Officer Travis Welsh, things got physical when Ramirez was confronted by store personnel.
He was confronted by loss prevention employees who attempted to escort him back to the office. Mr. Ramirez attempted to run from those gentlemen, and one of the loss prevention employees suffered an injury when Mr. Ramirez struck him with the back of his head in his face.
After the attack, Ramirez agreed to accompany the employees to the office where the situation escalated still further.
He then pulled out a black handgun from his jacket and was in the act of training it on the loss prevention officers, who then engaged him physically a second time and wrestled the gun away from him. It was later determined to be a pellet gun.
Ramirez was charged with robbery, criminal trespass to property, and criminal mischief. That was a misdemeanor. Montana courts are working to streamline their handling of child abuse and neglect cases and improve the results for children and their families. District Judge Ingrid Gustafson of Billings appeared before the Protect Montana Kids Commission yesterday. She says social workers, parents, and a mediator hold a pre-hearing conference to identify what led to the court's involvement and to determine if the parents are willing to make improvements. They pinpoint what kind of treatment, evaluation, or education the parents might need. 5 years ago, the district court in Yellowstone County terminated parental rights in 45% of abuse and neglect cases. An abnormally warm February has led to dangerous lake conditions for ice fishing. Fish, Wildlife, and Park spokeswoman Vivica Krauser said the public needs to be very cautious.
And what we're seeing right now with all the weather we've had in the 40s is even in a little bit higher elevations, such as the Clearwater chain of lakes, Sealy, Salmon, Placid, that area, is even rain. And so we've got a layer of water and heavy snow on top of the ice that's adding extra pressure, making it a little bit more unsafe than it would be otherwise.
There's no single resource for information about ice thickness on Montana's lakes, so FWP is urging adventurous anglers to spread the word on the conditions they find.
We're just wanting to warn people to make sure to check the ice conditions if you're still going out. There's certainly places where they're not good and you wouldn't want to go anymore. And there are places where you could safely ice fish, but you want to take it slowly, make sure you're testing the ice with an auger and talking to other fishermen and about what they're experiencing out there.
Krauser said that so far this year, her office has not been notified of anyone actually falling through the ice and becoming injured. A proposal to remove a rock dam from the Yellowstone River so an endangered prehistoric fish species can reach its spawning grounds could cost far more than a government plan to construct a new dam and fish bypass. The existing low-profile dam near the Montana-North Dakota border for decades has prevented an aging population of pallid sturgeon from swimming upstream. A federal judge recently blocked a $59 million plan to build a concrete dam and a bypass channel for sturgeon. Environmentalists sued, claiming there was no proof the bypass would work. Steve Forrest with Defenders of Wildlife says removing the rock dam and installing pumps to provide water to farmers along the Yellowstone could cost several times the original project's price tag, but would be better for the sturgeon. Our News Talk time now 6:12.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
A few showers expected early today, then becoming mostly cloudy this afternoon. Highs will be in the mid-40s. Tonight, areas of rain will mix with snow as our lows drop into the 20s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster.